Wasting money on cures. Forgot how to fix myself. They say that time is free. Then why is it so precious? Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. Time is running out. Time is running out. Lately I've lost my track. I've sailed the deeper seas, hoping to find something to bring back better times. Oh, I'll say memories in my head, like Polaroids on walls. They remind you to look ahead. But time is running out. 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 Time is running. Time is running out. But time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can be over. They can't be over now. Time is running out. What if my best days are over? They can't be over now. Time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out.
Afternoon, everyone. Yeah, it's just almost 12 o'clock. So yeah, good afternoon. It's Jim here, back with my old mucker Graham for the 8th in our series of A-level business live revision sessions. I think we got some Christmas specials coming up, haven't we, G? But this is the last of the 8 that we had originally scheduled before our Strong Foundations workshop tour starts next week.
Yeah, we got a Christmas special, I think.
Not
First
Christmas
week of
specials.
December. No. First week of December, I think.
Did we record it in June? Is that the idea?
Yeah, just like Gavin and Stacey.
Excellent.
Ours is
So
funny. Ours will be funny though.
it'll be original and funny. So welcome. This is a quantitative skills special. So in previous sessions, we've been taking a look at a couple of core topics each time. But we thought we'd just do a session that is basically about quantitative and numerical skills with some subtle twists. And as always, if you're joining us live, do have a go in the live chat. If not, if you're joining us on demand, maybe pause the video, give yourself a bit more time for the calculations. Should we make a start, G?
Yeah, let's go for it. So, hello everyone. So we've got the name of a product this time, not a business, under the question mark, and under each number, there's a clue. So, shall I have a look at the first clue, Jim? Oh, so this was introduced in 1876. So, if you're sat there thinking, I know a product, but it was released in 1976. Well, it's not this one because this was 1876. So it's quite an old product, Jim. But
It's
obviously,
been around a while. Is it still
must
available?
still be using it. Well,
Yeah.
it must be, otherwise it wouldn't be on screen. Should we have a look at clue number 2? By 1907, 12 million units were being manufactured and exported. So, not a lot to go on then either.
Exported suggests it's now an international, global product, I guess.
Yeah. Clue number 3. 650 million bottles a year are sold worldwide. I used some last night, actually. I did use this product last night. Not a telephone.
Quite a few people are saying telephone.
Yeah.
On the live chat. I won't put them on the screen just so that we don't put an incorrect answer on the screen. But we do actually have. I know we don't have a correct answer. I thought Davina got it right, but Davina, you're on the right lines. Does clue number 4 help?
Yeah, market share of 80%.
You don't get many products that have a market share of 80%, do you?
You don't.
I can only think of a small number of brands or products that have that.
Sure,
I think
clue
we've
number
beaten
5.
the team. Yeah. Often hard to get the last bits out of the bottle. We know it's a bottle of something.
Yeah. I think. Do you know what? I think we've done it like Jim. I think we have done it. So should we reveal the answer?
I'm pleased. I'm relieved as well.
It was Heinz tomato ketchup. So yeah, I had some last night on a sandwich. It was very nice. Do you know what? There was a program last night on the history of that product.
Really?
Yeah. If you missed it, you can watch it on ketchup.
Very good.
Yeah, not Pringles.
Yeah, Mar went for Pringles. I think Hafsa was the first in the live chat with the. Although Hafsa went for a generic product, ketchup. Specifically, we were looking for Heinz, weren't we?
Yeah.
But it's superb stuff. Okay, well, let's make a start. I'll do the first one. Let's now. I know, obviously, not every exam board has multiple choice questions, but we do like to use these as a way of testing knowledge and understanding and application. And here's a calculation for you. We're told that the average capacity utilization on an airline's flight from Newcastle to Bristol is 45%. And on average, 54 passengers board each flight. So using that information, can you work out what is the capacity, the aircraft capacity per flight? So I'll give you a clue. It's either A, B, C, or D. And another clue to help you, it includes the word passengers. So I think that's 2 clues there, G.
Yeah, I think this was an exam question. It wasn't an exam question. Just we've changed the figure slightly.
So with all of these, with calculations, ratios, and that kind of stuff, understanding the formula is important, and also being able to manipulate the formula. You might be given the answer and work backwards to get to one of the numbers. Looks like we've beaten the live chat audience today. If maybe you're watching on ketchup, you went for either A, B, C, or in fact, I would say I'm guessing D. Looking at some quick bit of maths, let's have a look. It is indeed D, yeah. And the reason it's D, having said that, lots of people did get it right. Lemsip, appropriately named, Hafsa, Davina, all went for D in a live chat. How we get to this is that capacity, which is the maximum potential number of passengers on each flight, well, it's the bottom part, isn't it? So utilization, it's 45% full. So if 54 passengers is 45% full, it must be that 54 divided by 0.5 is 120. Next one, G.
Yeah, okay, so 2 statements here. All things being equal, a decrease in contribution per unit will lead to a decrease in the margin of safety. Is that true or false? The formula to calculate the current ratio is current liabilities divided by current assets. Is that true or false? Decide whether you think each statement is true or false, and then select the corresponding letter A, B, C, or D. So if you think both statements are true, select A. If you think both are false, select D. I think you can work out B and C for yourself. So what do we think? Contribution per unit, a really important concept, Jim.
Yeah.
The difference between selling price per unit and variable cost per unit, it contributes towards covering the fixed costs. And then once those fixed costs are covered, it contributes towards profit. So what do we think? Margin of safety, not examined often. And when it is, it's often found relatively, some students find it relatively difficult. So what do we think? So lots of answers coming in. So if you think it's C, then we're saying that we think statement 1 is false and statement 2 is true. So
I think these are 2 hard ones, but you've got to know your formula, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to know your formula. That's statement 1. All things being equal. No, I'm not saying the correct answer yet. So it's not C or D. So that rules C or D out. So it must be A. It must be B.
Yeah.
Shall we have a look?
Let's have a look. Yeah. Let's go through why that is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is B. So a decrease in contribution per unit would increase the break-even point and subsequently reduce the margin of safety. So that is true. And statement to the formula, that's the wrong way around. It's current assets divided by current liabilities. So again, that's a common error that students make in exams, getting the current ratio sometimes the wrong way around, but also sometimes expressing it as a percentage. So dividing current assets by current liabilities and multiply by 100.
Yeah, it's a ratio, isn't it?
It's a ratio. So
I'm glad we did that. Wasn't that unearthed a little bit of misunderstanding, particularly around statement 1?
Defo.
So now we're moving on to another, one of your favourite topics, G, one of my favourite topics, budgeting and variances. So one of those 4, A, B, C, or D, would lead to an adverse variance. Adverse variance. So don't forget, when we talk about variances, it's the difference between actual and budget. And we tend to classify variances as either being favourable, F, or adverse, A. Which one do you think it is? Is it when actual fuel expenditure, fuel costs are lower than budget? Is that adverse? Is it when budgeted salaries are higher than actual? Is that adverse? Is it when budgeted raw material costs are lower than actual, or sales revenue is higher than budget? One of those, only one of those 4 is, I would say, an adverse variance. I think this is a topic area that students take some time to get confident with. So we'll keep coming back to this again and again because it's commonly examined. Let's have a look at the answer. Didn't see a live chat answer correct. That's not to say there wasn't one. It's just that we didn't see one here on the screen. It's C, isn't it? So an adverse variance, the way to think about this, adverse variance is bad news. So it'd be bad news if your actual sales are lower than budget. Bad news if your actual costs are higher than budget. Bad news if your actual profit is lower than budget. Well, in case of C, we're told that actual costs must be higher than budget because budget costs are lower than actual. So only C was an adverse variance.
Difficult question, that.
Yeah. Let's see if the next one's easier.
Well, it could be. So again, this was an exam question. Again, this was an actual exam question. So we're not trying to trick anyone here.
No.
Made it particularly hard or easy. So the table shows the weekly output and costs, total costs of a business. So you've got weekly output 0 to 4, then you've got the total costs 400 to 1800. All we want to know is the variable cost of producing 4 units of output. So what are the variable costs, the total variable cost of producing 4 units of output? So we can see 4 units of output, we see the total costs. We want the total variable cost. If it is a B, that C is a D.
Good question, that.
It is a good question.
I can see why it appeared in an exam question, exam paper. Easy to make a mistake.
Yeah, so what do we think?
I'm guessing one part of this is, because that column on the right there is total cost, one part of it is to work out what fixed costs are, isn't it? Because those
if we know what the fixed costs, exactly. So if we know what the fixed costs are, then all we need to do is deduct the fixed costs from that total cost of 4.
We do.
And then that's all we need to do. It's quite straightforward. So I can't see any answers.
I don't know.
Now,
I think
some coming in now. Yeah, some coming in now. So shall I reveal the answer?
Well done.
Yeah, it is C, because if the business produces nothing, the total cost of 400, so there must be the fixed costs. So the fixed costs are 400 pounds. So they don't change in relation to output. So we know that even if the business produces 4 units, the fixed cost will still be 400. So 1800 minus 400 gives us 1400. So that really tested the understanding of fixed costs. Don't change.
They do change, but not in relation to output.
Exactly.
Don't they? That's the key thing about fixed costs. Excellent. Exactly. Okay. Oh, we've got another one of your favourite questions, G.
Shall I do this one? Can I do this?
Yeah, of course you can. You wrote it.
Oh yeah, it's true. So total cash outflows minus total cash inflows equals net cash flow. Is that true or false? Gross profit plus cost of sales equals sales revenue. Is that true or false? What do we think? A, B, C, or D? What do we think?
I could have a go as well. No, I'm not seeing this question.
So we know what gross profit is, don't we? You know the formula for gross profit, and we can manipulate that. So what do we think? Total cash outflows minus total cash inflows equals net cash flow. Is that true or false? Gross profit plus cost of sales equals sales revenue. Is that true or false? What do we reckon?
Can I have a go before you reveal?
Yeah, you have a go, Jim.
I'll keep an eye on the live chat as well, see if anybody else agrees with me or disagrees with me. I think it's a hard question. I think statement 2, I think that's true because, yes, indeed, if we manipulate the formula, sales revenue minus cost of sales is gross profit. Therefore, gross profit plus cost of sales must be sales revenue. So that must be true. So it's either C or A, but I think the cash flow thing's the wrong way around. I think it's inflows less outflows. I'm thinking it's C.
It is C.
Oh, there we go.
So yeah, it's inflows minus outflows is net cash flow. So statement 1 is false.
Yeah.
But gross profit is sales revenue minus cost of sales. So therefore, gross profit plus cost of sales must be sales revenue. And would you believe there was an exam question where students were just given gross profit and cost of sales and had to work out the gross profit margin? Well, how do you do that? Because you need gross profit divided by sales revenue. Well, that's required you to understand the gross profit plus cost of sales equals sales revenue. So, I would be practicing manipulating formula as part of my revision strategy.
Yeah.
Should have a look at the next one.
We're finished off on MCQs. So, would you believe it's almost as though we put a lot of thought and planning into these sessions that there's a little mini case study on Heinz that appeared earlier. So,
and if you're looking at that, thinking, well, what's this got to do with quantitative skills? Well, I will tell you what it's got to do with quantitative skills because it's a market share question. Now,
it is
in EdXL this year, paper 1, there was a question where students had to calculate the market share for 2 years and work out the difference in market share. And a lot of students couldn't remember the market share formula. So market share is a quantitative skill, so you might get a question on calculating market share. But here we want to apply the benefits of being market leader, to Heinz really. So, they've got an 8% market share.
Yep.
How will they benefit from having, being the market leader, having the highest market share? What will they benefit
if you're watching
from?
live, have a go. Maybe just type a few words in, a few thoughts on a benefit of Heinz tomato ketchup having that 80% market share.
Yeah, and if you're watching on ketchup, then you can pause the video. Yeah.
I think Davina's point goes right to the heart of this, isn't it? There's a
brand
reason
loyalty.
why. There's a reason why having 80% market share is massive from a marketing point of view, which is, do you really need to promote? Because you've got a loyal customer base. They see the bottle. They love the taste. They don't want it. They've tried the rest.
You got to have the best.
What I mean? Loyal customer base goes right to the heart of this, doesn't it? No question about it.
It's not Brumwell's, which I believe is Aldi's tomato ketchup. But I'll tell you another thing, Jim. You might not know this, but prior to becoming a school teacher, I worked in retail for a long, long, long time. Now, shelf space is limited, and 80% of your sales come from 20% of your stock. So, as a retailer, if you wanted to stock tomato ketchup, you're going to give more shelf space to Heinz because it's a market leader. So, because it's getting more shelf space, it's more visible. Therefore, that's going to lead to increased sales, which can obviously lead to increased economies of scale as well. But also, I would imagine price elasticity of demand could come into play here.
Yeah.
It's probably relatively inelastic because it's got such a strong brand name. Customers may be prepared to pay a slightly higher price because they perceive it to be, better. Lots of good answers there. Should we see what we had?
Yeah, Davina's also making the point about the fact that 80% market share means you're most likely to benefit from economies of scale in the market, aren't you?
You are.
Because by definition, you're making what? 80% of the bottles.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at what we came up with. And there's a bit of some useful application here with these two answers, isn't there? Do you want to take us through the logic?
We put it in red as well to illustrate tomato sauce there. So as they have the largest market share, they may have greater brand loyalty, which was picked up in the chat there.
Davina's point.
Compared to other tomato ketchup, such as Tesco's own brand, this could mean that their ketchup is more price inelastic, meaning it can set a higher price. Now that means if they increase the price, yes, the quantity demanded will fall, but not as much as a percentage increase in price. Now, as market leaders, supermarkets such as Tesco, Morrison's, and Asda may need to give Heinz more shelf space compared to other brands of tomato ketchup. Hellmann's do tomato ketchup.
Yeah, they do.
This may make their ketchup more visible in store, leading to more bottles sold. So it's in the application there, can't we? Things like bottles, supermarkets, shelf space, ketchup. So that is there's a lot of application there, isn't there? A lot of application answer.
Yeah, I've been looking through some answers recently where there's too many generic words like products and customers. Just by replacing products with the word ketchup, bottles,
Rooted in the application,
customers,
doesn't it?
supermarkets.
Yeah,
love it.
Rooted
we
in the
want
context.
as with ketchup, we want to squeeze every mark out, don't we? That we can.
We
from
do,
every question.
yeah. I was going to try and make a ketchup joke there, but I didn't think I could squeeze it in. But you managed to.
So we've got a definition spin here. Now, this is really important. Every session we do, can't emphasize enough this. You've got to keep going back through your specifications and keep looking through them and be absolutely on top of every term in there. You need to know what they are, because a lot of marks can be lost if you don't know what the topic is that's being examined. So we make no apologies for this. You need to know what it is, but then also to be able to maybe apply it in the situation of the given context at Excel, the extract or the case study. So should we spin the wheel, G? This is a purely random spinner. Knowing you, it's going to land on crowdfunding, which I know is one of your favourite topics.
I love that. Oh, no. Price elasticity of demand. What is price elasticity of demand?
Possibly the most examined topic of anything, isn't it? I would say.
Comes up a lot, and even if it's not specifically examined, it's one you can use to get your depth of analysis and evaluation in there. So what do we mean by price elasticity of demand?
If you're watching on live, have a go, type something in. We'll keep an eye on the live chat as we go in, just in case some answers come in.
I'm just having a look at behind the screen there to see if the answer's written behind there. Just so it's not actually written behind. Any ideas? What do we think? How elastic demand is? Well, yeah. I think precision is important here, and we need to be. I think a little bit more precise, because that's a little bit of a rewording of the definition there. So that would be like saying crowdfunding is funding the crowd.
That's it. Yeah. So my students love doing that when I ask for a definition. They just reorganize the words.
Yeah, just reorganize the words. It may get you. So it measures the responsiveness of demand from a change in price. Yeah, so that is. That's good. That's good,
Max,
Maddie.
And actually, Maddie as well. I've put Maddie's comment on the screen there. Thank you for typing those out, by the way, team. Yeah, it's that sensitivity, isn't it? How much? I like that word, sensitive.
Yeah, sensitivity.
I'm a sensitive bloke anyway, but it's how sensitive is demand, isn't it, to a change in price? Is it really sensitive? Highly sensitive? That would be more elastic. Is it really not that sensitive? It doesn't really respond that much. Yeah. And Max's answer very much along the same line. So that's what we're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah, and a cool name there, Max Jelly. That's a cool. Yeah, that's a cool name.
It's that change in demand, and you need to remember the formula, even if you don't have to calculate the coefficient. You need to remember the formula.
Yeah. Should we have a look at what we had?
Yep.
It measures the responsiveness of demand in relation to a change in price, or how sensitive demand is in relation to a change in price. Now, EdXL students, you may be required to calculate this in an exam. AQA students, you don't have to calculate pedal yet, but you should know the formula.
Yeah, really. And I think, to be honest with you, AQA students, so I was discussing this in a tutorial session last week. You've got to know the formula, because if you know the formula and how it works, it makes it a lot easier to apply a coefficient and to understand and apply the concept of PED. So there's no reason not to know the formula and to use it. So learn the formula.
Okay. Should we do one more? Let's spin it again. There's one more here.
Yeah. So presumably price elasticity of demand is grayed out. Yeah,
it's grayed out.
Let's go. Here we go.
Receivables now. Now
shall
sometimes
I have a go defining this, Graham? I'll have a go. Is it something you receive?
Oh yeah, it's an able you receive. Now what's interesting is sometimes if you're in again, I'll come back to EdXL students here. Sometimes EdXL use payables, receivables, debtors, creditors interchangeably. So sometimes they use debtors and creditors in an exam question. Sometimes they refer to payables and receivables. So you need to know
Yeah.
what a payable and a receivable is, and a debtor and a creditor. So payables and receivables are alternative names, really.
Yeah.
But sometimes in their exam papers, they will use different terminology. So what do we understand by the term, receivables? You might cover this when you're doing cash flow.
Hmm. It's one of our efficiency rate. Oh, there is a ratio that's related to it, which is what one of our efficiency ratios, isn't it? But it's also a number, and a really important part of business, massive part of business.
Yeah. So EdXL students, again, that you won't be asked to calculate
No.
a ratio on this, but
Yep.
you still need to understand what it means. It appears on the statement of financial position or
Shall we have a look?
balance sheet. Yeah, let's have a look. So so it's a current asset.
Yep.
They are amounts of money owed to a business which usually need to be paid within 12 months. So it's cash that's being
amounts that your
received.
customers. Yeah, Maddie's come up with a really nice one with a nice bit of application as well. It's money that a business is owed. That is the key. It's what a business is owed. We should be hoping that that's going to come in soon by its clients or customers, such as unpaid invoices. It's exactly what it is. And it's a massive issue for businesses having receivables. Customers not paying their bills quickly is a significant cause of cash flow problems, particularly for small businesses.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's have a look.
I said my piece, Graham, about that. Should we do a calculation? Yeah. So I don't think we've got a timer on this, haven't we? So we'll maybe give people, about 30 seconds, 60 seconds. So we've got now, absolutely key break-even analysis. Graham's already mentioned this, that you've got to be able to manipulate the formula. So we've got some data there from a business. We don't know what it's selling, but we do know that the selling price per unit is £12. We also know that the variable cost per unit is £4. And one more piece of data, the monthly fixed costs, £200. So it's a small business. But the question is, what is the yearly or annual break-even point? So we're looking for units, aren't we?
Yeah. Do you know why there's no time on this one, Jim?
Why is that?
I forgot. I completely forgot.
Well, next time we'll add a time. I think there's 2 or 3 bits to the calculation, so certainly a minute to have a go.
Yeah, and remember with break even, it's important to express your answer in units and not as a pound sign in front of it, because that's not correct.
Yeah.
Really. So I think if anyone's coming to our Strong Foundations workshops, which start next week, don't they, Jim? Strong Foundations. We'll mention those at the end again. I think we will be doing some stuff on break even because it's such an important concept.
Vital.
So we're Newcastle, Manchester, Birmingham, and London for 4 days. So not an easy question, that is it? Really.
I'll keep an eye on the live chat, G. See if anybody else has come up with some workings.
Yeah.
So what hard on this one.
We need to know the formula, don't we? Which is fixed costs divided by contribution per unit. So contribution per unit is selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. So that's £8. The 200 divided by 8 would give our monthly break-even point. But we need, but it's yearly, isn't it? So we would need to multiply that by 12. Should we say what the answer is?
Let's do the big reveal. Here it comes. Wow.
Yeah. It was 300 units. I was expecting, and there was someone in the chat window did put £25. So obviously, that should have been 25 units. Because we don't use a pound sign for break even, but that is the monthly break even. Now, often you get questions that ask you to calculate the monthly break even when you're given the yearly fixed costs. So some students fail to divide by 12, and here you need to multiply by 12. So again, like if you've got 25 units, you understand the formula, but you just didn't quite read the question carefully enough and recognize that was monthly fixed costs and we needed the yearly break even. So and again, break even was examined frequently, and often students can't remember the break even formula in an exam, and we don't get the formulas, do we? So it's important to revise all those.
We keep coming back to break even. Yeah, we've got
Yeah.
a mini case study, and
Now,
I'm absolutely gobsmacked by this, G. Possibly for the first time ever, you've come up with a case study that's based in the northeast of England, in a
is
place
it?
called
Oh,
Sunderland, which, as I
yeah,
understand it, is a small town near Newcastle.
it is. It is. Yeah. Well, it's a city, but we won't go there. So the Codfather is a chain of
Okay.
fish and chip shops located in Sunderland. Well, I'm very loyal to a place called Queen's Cafe in Seaburn, and so if you're ever in that area. But anyway, as well as fish and chips, they also sell kebabs, pizzas, and soft drinks. They don't sell hard drinks, just soft drinks, kebabs, pizzas, and obviously fish and chips. So
It
we've got an
feels
image
like a
there.
healthy eating outlet, doesn't it? It's got that sort of vibe of healthy eating.
Life's about balance, Jim. Should we have a look at the question? So we want to weigh the Codfather. See what we've done here? There's some thought gone into this. We've just done a question on break even, and now we're doing some a bit more on break even. How could the Codfather reduce its break even point? So this comes from understanding the formula and what would reduce the break even point.
So there's no
three
numbers
things.
involved, is there? But it's
No, there's
understanding
three
the
methods
concept.
really. Yeah, there's three methods really, but we want application here. We want application. That's what we want. That's what we want.
Yeah,
so
I think that's the key, isn't it? I mean, often it's easy to focus just on revising the calculations to break even, but if you think about the underlying concept, it actually goes to the heart of how you run a business more profitably and reduce risk.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on the live chat. If anyone wants to add in, if you're with us live, add in any thoughts that can help Graham's fish and chip shop in Sunderland reduce its break-even point. In other words, make it easier to make profit, isn't it? Reduce the risk.
Yeah. So I think if we look at it, if we think about it logically, it's all about contribution, isn't it? So the formula is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. So so if the lower the fixed costs, all things being equal, that would do a reduced break even. And if we can increase contribution per unit, maybe by increasing the price or reducing the variable cost per unit, that can also reduce break even. But what we wanted to apply it to the Codfather. So rather than saying, well, the Codfather could just increase its prices, one, that doesn't explain why it might lead to a reduction in break even. You have to say, well, increasing prices would increase contribution per unit, and as long as the fixed costs don't change, they would need to sell. But there's no application there, so you'd have to say something like they could increase their prices, such as the price of their fish and chips or their kebabs. So Maddie's coming there. So that's a bit of theory there. So let's put Maddie's answer on screen there because that's really good. So lower variable costs like renegotiating supplier prices. But what we'd need there is we'd need some examples, for example, such as buying cheaper kebab meat or, maybe buying cheaper fish,
Cooking oil.
Cooking oil, anything to do with that. So Dream Boy there might say reducing fixed costs. Well, what fixed costs?
Yeah.
You could maybe argue maybe they could negotiate lower rent on the fish and chip shop. That would be more applied. Should we have a look at what we had?
Yep, let's see if we applied it. Hopefully we did. I'm pretty sure you will. If you've written these answers, G, it'll be spot on.
I think so. So they could increase the price of their food, such as the price of their fish and chips. This would result in an increase in contribution per unit, meaning they need to sell fewer fish and chips to cover the fixed costs, such as the rent on each shop, recognizing that it's a shop. They could look, so this is Maddie's point here, they could look to reduce their variable costs, such as cheaper ingredients, such as cheaper fish, which is an essential ingredient when you're making cooking fish.
Yeah.
Potatoes, essential if you want to make chips. And kebab meat is important if you want a kebab. So cheaper fish, potatoes, and kebab meat, that's the application. If they keep the price of their food the same, but lower the variable costs, this will again increase contribution per unit. And then you would go and explain how that would reduce the break-even point. So we can just see there the application, and that's what we're after, isn't it? That's what we want.
It makes the world of difference to an answer, doesn't it? And it's a really easy way of getting application marks using words that are relevant to the business rather than generic terms such as product or customer or supplier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent stuff there.
Well done, mate. Half an hour has flown by there. That's been really good. We've covered a lot there, haven't we? Break even. We've covered capacity utilization. We've covered PED. So we've not covered every possible quantitative numerical skill, but we focused on the ones which are typically taught in year 12. And we keep coming back to them because you've got to keep going back to them so you know your formula and know how to manipulate them.
You have, yeah. So I think we're taking a break now because, as I mentioned, we're on tour, aren't we? We're doing some BTEC workshops. We're doing an A-level workshop called Strong Foundations, which is a day dedicated to exam technique. So if you're coming along, please say hello. We're in Newcastle and Manchester next week, the Trafford Centre, which will hopefully be all Christmassy. Maybe is it too early for the Christmas decorations?
It will be, and there's no doubt that the Metro Centre in Newcastle will be Christmassy as well.
Yeah. And then the week after that, we are in Birmingham, and then we're in London for 3
days. Yeah, an extra day, an overflow day, and it's already almost full. So if you want to get your places and get them organised this week, it's going to be really busy the week after next.
Definitely. So, and then I think we're going to do a Christmas special, aren't we? Which will advertise first week in December, I think.
Yeah, it'll be business questions with a Christmas theme, a wrapper.
Yeah, it will be.
Well done, everyone. Thanks for joining us live. Of course, if you're watching on Catch Up as well, thanks for working through the session. Hopefully it's useful. Do take a look at the playlist to see some of the other sessions that we've done this term. We've covered a lot of topics, to be fair. Not all of them, but lots of them. And the more you revise at this stage of the year, the better and easier things will be as you get closer to the real things next summer. So for now, G, thanks very much, mate.
Cheers now. Bye-bye, everyone.
If you're coming to Strong Foundations or BTEC Unit 3, we'll see you next week. Cheers.